Welcome to After the Show, your weekly movie podcast brought to you by A. Scully and Cidtalk. We're addicted to movies. Are you? Welcome, Cidtalk. Welcome, listeners, to After the Show. Hello, Cidtalk.
Welcome. Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good because I just watched a movie, one of my favorite things.
When a person asks you how you obligated, like, socially to say, how are you? Because what if you don't care? I care about you.
Just say I don't care.
Imagine.
I don't care about you.
In the invention of lying, remember, they had to say everything was just the truth. I find that fascinating.
It is Saturday, February. Before the After the Show discussion was nothing.
Not much.
So it is Saturday, February the 24th. This is After the Show 827. We're a movie review podcast. Every week we look at a new movie. This week's movie is Dream Scenario. It's a 2023 release, out now, rated R from our friends at A24. Cidtalk, give us a synopsis of the movie Dream Scenario.
A dude starts showing up in people's dreams. And then their dreams dictate what they think about him.
All right, I'll give you the one off A24's box.
Hi.
A hapless family man finds his life turned upside down when millions of strangers suddenly start seeing him in their dreams. When his nighttime appearances take a nightmarish turn, Paul is forced to navigate his newfound stardom. That's a bit more than you should know. I think. I think you should go into this blind, to be fair, but...
Which I did, because I thought we were watching Wonka.
You did. You said, A24 are making Wonka? That's weird.
I was like, wow, that's very progressive of them.
That's going to be a dark experience. Much darker than Tim Burton. Cidtalk, what did you think of the movie?
I really enjoyed it. What do you think of it?
I really, really like it.
Really, really. We really liked it. Thank you all for coming. Goodbye.
A24 always deliver the goods for me. Because you don't know what you're getting. It can be anything. It can be a comedy, horror.
True.
Who knows?
Have we ever disliked an A24 offering?
I don't. Well, we must have, right?
Surely.
Yeah, we must have not liked one of them. But it's usually a hit for me, an A24. It usually tickles my movie buds.
What?
You get it? Like tickles the taste buds, but the movie buds instead.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I wasn't being filthy.
Okay.
So, yeah, I really enjoyed the concept of it. Because
yes.
Has this ever been, anything like this has ever been explored before in movies?
Well, I mean, like movies like Inception and even the other one that Nicolas Cage was in, which was, what was it called? Adaptation. Not in terms of like people's perception of you from their dreams, but like psychological diving into our psychic. You know what I mean?
I thought of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind as well. This kind of reminded me of it a little bit.
True that.
So, yeah, this dream scenario, let's say, is that people just are suddenly looking at Nicolas Cage's character in the movie saying, don't I know you? I've got deja vu or something. And then it slowly unravels that
the first thing is we see his daughter having a dream, and in the dream, something bad is happening, and he, Nicolas Cage, her father, is doing nothing.
Just looking.
And then we find that other people are having dreams about him, random people who do know him and people who don't. And in all of the dreams, in the beginning, he's doing nothing. He is an ineffective, do nothing, stander by, boring. He's not assisting. He's not helping.
And people like that.
They like it because they kind of, and they get on the bandwagon because all of a sudden becomes famous and it's on the internet and then it's a thing and he gets interviews and all that. So then the question becomes, are you dreaming about him because you were dreaming about him because of the phenomenon or because it's being introduced to you? And then what happens?
Then the dreams start turning to a darker side. So people are dreaming of him jumping out of the shadows and murdering them or strangling them or whatever he's doing. It's horrible. And then in the real world, when people wake up in the morning, they don't want anything to do with him, and they're frightened of him, the actual guy. And he's basically cancelled. That's what the idea was.
It feels like, we're canceling, so interesting. Yeah.
If you had to look at it in real world terms, it'd just be like somebody who gets really instant stardom, and then people think that they did something wrong. Maybe somebody said they did something wrong, and everybody goes along with it. Because in this movie, because he's just in people's dreams, he actually did nothing wrong.
Correct.
They dreamt it, not him. So
see, that's the whole thing. It's like if I dream that you came in here and drank all my tea, and then the next day I'm mad at you for drinking my cup of tea. And you're just like, what are you talking about? In the beginning, also with his mentality, because he's sort of I think he's unlikable, and he's very neutral and boring kind of person. He's
a lecturer, like a university.
Yeah. And so I already dislike, but more on the side of he's so neutral and uninteresting. You know what I mean?
That's what they say in the movie, actually, at one point. That, he's just boring. Why him?
Yeah, why has he become the thing? Him? And so when you dream about him and he's nothing, so if I dream about you and you're just standing there, I have no feelings about you, but then you start doing something, and then if I manifest my own feelings about you, which seems kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
That I'm mad at you for doing something that was in my dream. And it doesn't make any sense, and yet people are doing it. So I find that's just a really interesting idea.
Yeah, so when you apply that to real life, people can become really famous. People love them all of a sudden, and then it's just hearsay of something. Oh, something happened. He said something, or he might not have even done it. But then all of a sudden, nobody likes them.
I mean, we're adding that.
That's kind of what I got from it, though.
Yeah.
Like how quickly it can change.
Oh, people are fickle.
Like we find that you're in the corner of our dream, just looking and just walking past and going, huh. But we're not fine when you're attacking us with a knife.
Well, no.
There's where this movie, for me, I really enjoyed the whole idea of it. I thought it was really fun until there's a point, spoilers, at the end, it's sort of in the last 5 minutes, where it goes into this almost science fiction-y realm.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like that didn't fit. I wouldn't have ended it that way. I didn't like the bracelet thing and the...
Yeah, they go into the realm of, because we're all idiots, basically, as humans, that, of course, someone, because of the phenomenon of him being in people's dreams, some guru person has now invented a way for you to wear this bracelet thing, like a smartwatch, that then allows advertisers and influencers to come into your dream and sell you stuff. Yeah. But let's be honest, that would probably happen if it was possible.
That would definitely happen.
So I didn't feel like it was super science fiction-y. It just was like, oh yeah, people would definitely try to cash in for sure.
I kind of liked how the movie was going until that was revealed. And then I was like, this feels like it's from another movie. It doesn't feel like it matches this movie. So that was the only problem I had. I wouldn't have ended it that way. You know?
Well, it didn't really end that way.
Well,
I mean, it was just nearer.
It ended with that idea and the fact that Nicolas Cage's character was wearing that thing to try and manipulate dreams.
True.
So that part I wasn't so much on board with.
I actually really like that because it felt like it went, if we're all dumb enough to be mad at someone for what they do in our dreams, then we're dumb enough to fall for that.
Yeah.
So I was like, yep, I'm on. I got it. I get you. I get what you're saying.
It's interesting. And when he basically becomes a celebrity because of it. Because it says on the box there, millions of people were dreaming it. We don't really, do we see the worldwide? We don't.
We don't know. It's pretty insulated.
He does say one line in the thing about when it kind of dies off and somebody says, does that still happen? And he says, I only see news stories from abroad.
Right.
So that's the only indication that it's everywhere.
Because we jump forward in time a year after all the shit hits the fan, and then he's written a book, and then he's become famous, but in the sleazy way.
And but people are trying to exploit him.
Yeah, like, is it fair to say something like I don't want to say like Corey Feldman?
Kind of. Because the guy's like, we'll get you a book deal, and then they get him a book deal, and then when he gets to see the final book, they've changed the title of it. They want him to take pictures like with a Freddy Krueger hand on. So he's like the dream.
They're just selling like this weird concept.
And it's not something he's into at all.
But again, totally realistic.
Yeah.
Let's be fair.
I really there's a scene where he goes to an advertising agency and sits with the three people in there. That scene was amazing, I thought. It's just like, it shows how dumb people are and how manipulated people get.
Yeah, the advertising agency want to like get him into like a Sprite ad because now they've decided, which is a step toward the end thing where you can get in dreams, where if we show photos of you on Twitter and whatnot with Sprite in your hand, and if people are already dreaming about you, then we can get them to dream about Sprite. Yeah. And isn't that amazing? So that's like the step closer to a device that gets people into your dreams, like digitally, I guess. I don't know.
Somehow you can influence them into dreaming about a thing. And that's the ultimate advertising weapon. That's what that guy was saying. Like, if we can implant Sprite into everybody's dream, everybody's drinking Sprite. That's it. That's all it is. We don't even need to go after them advertising wise.
Yeah.
And that is a very good idea.
Oh, don't say that. Don't even say it.
But it's just a really fun concept, the movie. And it's done in this really, I really like the
awkward,
and it kind of condenses it down into this small story instead of it being this giant thing, It's not like the Truman Show, for instance. You kind of get the idea of this giant thing going on, don't you? But this, it's just really about him and his family and his emotions.
Mm.
And then he has this like interaction with this girl, which was interesting.
Very awkward.
Awkward, interesting.
Super awkward.
So yeah,
because like basically she had a dream, but it was very sexual, and in her mind it was very positively sexual. Well, once we get to know this guy, you realize very quickly it's not going to be like her dream, because he's a very no confidence. He's not anything that her dream offered her, and then she wants
to reenact the dream in real life,
and then it's not good. It's very awkward
and messy.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about it without just ruining the whole thing, but I think it's more, there are scenes in this movie that are just like expertly done, acted. The scene with him in the advertising agency really stuck out to me.
Absolutely.
It was awesome. The scenes with his wife are really emotional.
Very.
And touching on weird things like why aren't you in my dreams?
Yeah, she never dreams of him. His one daughter does. We don't ever find out if the other daughter does. The young daughter does.
Doesn't seem to be any rules.
So if you think about it real hard, you could probably figure out why. But I mean, they never really address why some people do, some people don't. But the wife never does. But she always says to him, like, I love you.
Right.
And so I don't care about any of this other stuff. But because of the way he reacts, his reaction to it all, unfortunately, turns it all very negative, right? So that's the other aspect, is like, if you are a public figure and you get accused of something that you did not do, so let's say the truth is you didn't do it, and yet someone's accusing you and now the world thinks it. And then if you go out into the world and the way that you respond turns everybody off, right?
Right.
So now you've done a thing that's negative or weird, even though you didn't do the first thing. And now everyone has like a real life reason to be like, ew, right? So he does that, and everybody's like, oh, God. So then that shows him a little more of who he is. It kind of shines a light on how he copes with things, and it's unappealing, right? Again, unappealing. I think it's really fascinating, but I told you, I came out of this movie like kind of neutral.
Kind of like what?
I really love it. I mean, you'll see when I give it the score. I really love it as a film watching experience and a delving into psychology and all that stuff. And yet I walk away with like numbness a little bit.
Maybe that was the idea.
Maybe.
Yeah, but what are you supposed to take away from it?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah. Well, what I took away from it was some excellent performances by this cast.
Absolutely.
Nicolas Cage as Paul Matthews. Nicolas Cage. Oh, Nicolas Cage.
I don't know him personally.
I mean, I movily know him. Is that a word?
Movily. Nice. Cinematically.
Yeah. So we've seen him in the good. We've seen him in the bad.
What's a bad Nicolas Cage for you that you've seen?
The Wicker Man. Terrible.
The Wicker Man.
Did you ever see that?
I don't think I have.
It was a remake of The Wicker Man. It was very, very bad. Yeah. The good, Leaving Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think Face Off and Con Air are good Nicolas Cage movies.
Some might argue with you. Some might disagree.
I actually like the action Nicolas Cage, Wild at Heart is my favorite Nicolas Cage.
So you like the unhinged and or wannabe nerdy action guy, because that's what he is in like The Rock.
And you might name other movies. What are your favorite?
I would say Leaving Las Vegas, Adaptation. So I like the kind of, and I like those other action ones.
Raising Arizona?
Yeah, Raising Arizona, where it's like he's immersed in a character that I'm not going to get anywhere else. Whereas The Rock and Con Air, that's a guy, those are both characters who are very standard action figure or action movie kind of characters, right?
Yeah.
Adaptation, you don't see that. Raising Arizona, you don't see that. So that's like a character that's invented like by him and for him. Those I think are my favorites. And Leaving Las Vegas, it's just like a delve into like complete emotional disconnect and devastation and handing over your life to like what will be kind of thing. Well, personal destruction. But yeah, those are my favorites.
I really like The Weatherman as well.
Weatherman's really good. Yeah. Again, it's a different thing.
The guy's got range. He's the kind of actor I would think that most people would be able to find something by him that they like. They might hate some of his stuff, but Absolutely. They might like something. So, and there's not many people out there you could say that for, because they don't change it up, do they? He does change it up. He's very different in this than he is in Wild at Heart, for instance. So I thought he was amazing in this. It's subtle, isn't it? The reactions.
Yes, the sort of nothingness.
And I didn't find him unlikable, to be fair. I just found him to be boring.
I found him unlikable because I know people like that who I'm not fond of. This sort of like, I think it's the nothingness that makes me like
this movie with you dreaming things that like you brought something to it.
Absolutely.
Of your own.
Absolutely.
That you colored it with. Ooh.
I mean, you do anyway, right? Because if you're watching a movie about a superhero who saves, people, and if in your life you're attracted to sort of like the big, strong, bold, I mean, I feel like that is a thing, right? Like,
yeah. So yeah, Nicolas Cage, standout. I thought he was fantastic. It's one of the best movies I've seen him in.
I agree.
Julianne Nicholson plays his wife, Janet Matthews. What did you think?
Absolutely excellent, because I really like her quiet, and they explore ideas of like when the daughter tells him, I had a dream about you, Dad, and you didn't do anything. He's like, I didn't do anything. And then the mother is immediately like, don't be insulted by her dream. And then there's a history of him having a confidence problem and him taking things very personally and feeling insulted. And the wife knows all of this, right? But then she explores like her own jealousy that other people are dreaming of him, that he's getting attention because of it. But it's very, very, very subtle. And she kind of wants to get in on it, but it's not big, it's just quiet. I really like the way she kind of melted into that.
Yeah. We've also got Michael Cera as Trent. He's the advertising executive.
Yeah.
He's pretty funny. I mean, he does the Michael Cera thing, doesn't he? I'm a
absolutely
bit of an ass kind of guy.
You think he's an ass?
Well, he often plays like a bit of he's the kind of character that feels like he knows everything, but he really doesn't. He's
I get you.
Yeah. Like this guy. So, and we've got Dylan Galuya as Molly, and Molly's the one who takes him back to her place. And
tries to reenact the dream.
Yeah, I thought that was a standout scene too. Take away the
definitely
the sexual element, just the actual acting part of it. And then we've got directed by Christopher Borgli. Maybe that's right. Maybe it isn't. Borgli. Let's say Borgli. He directed a movie called Softcore that I did not see. He's directed some other TV shows. What do you think of this directing?
I thought it really brought out everybody's everything.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say that, but that's one of my things about directing, that if you get your cast to convince me that they're just totally into it, then I think that's a huge directorial touch, and the way it looks, I mean, that's cinematography and set direction, but it looked gorgeous.
It kind of looks like a 70s movie. It's got this kind of grimy, kind of ordinariness to it.
True.
And I really like that. It was shot on film, I could tell. It's just kind of ordinary. The lighting is not, it's like natural lighting. It's just ordinary, like this guy's supposed to be, I guess. IMDb reviews, what are those?
Those are reviews that you're going to find on the IMDb where they give it 1 star and you think it's hilarious.
Yes. And, there's probably going to be, like, with most Nicolas Cage things, what people at both ends of the spectrums there, isn't there?
Absolutely.
So let's get to these people who hate this movie. First guy says, this is like a poorly executed Twilight Zone episode. The movie has no compelling characters, no compelling relationships, no explanation of the main theme of the movie, nothing. It was a complete waste of time, and the movie is trash.
Trash? That seems severe.
And the second guy says, if you've seen the trailer, you know that this is a fantastic concept. But other than that, after executing the premise, it becomes a dour, depressing mess that builds to nothing. It's a terrible movie. It does have one brilliant moment, though, the infamous sex scene. But if you pay to see this, you'll want your money back.
Really?
Yeah.
I disagree.
And third one says, worst movie I've seen in a long time. I picked this movie after looking for reviews. My husband was looking at his watch a third of the way through, saying, do we really have to stay for this?
I wonder about that. Because, like, what is it that makes me want to escape a movie? It's not because I don't understand it or because it's challenging. Okay, so I'm insulting these people already because that's what I think they're doing. If I'm so mindlessly bored, and bored as in there's nothing to think about or challenge or interesting or action to kind of like even stimulate, you know what I mean? Or it's just really poorly done. Sometimes, though, that's more interesting. But when people want to leave, I think sometimes like this kind of movie, it's because I don't understand what's going on.
Right.
Like, someone explain to me what's happening, right? That's how I envision them.
We didn't see any extras, but we can give you a conclusion on the movie Dream Scenario. I'm going to give Dream Scenario an 8 out of 10.
Right on. I'm giving it a 9. You know why? Because I want it to be one of the best at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I'm already thinking about that, and it's only February. But I do. I feel like as a film watching experience and a thought-provoking thing, and everybody's good to me, I just feel like it's one of the best so far. So I'm into it.
Another A24 hit. Well, you're a hit to us, A24, even if other people say you're boring and it's a waste of money and my husband was looking at his watch, etc.
I mean, I don't think I looked at my watch or my phone at all.
I never look at my watch.
We don't.
All right, movie recommendations. It's Twin Peaks Day today, so I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't recommend things related to Twin Peaks.
Is this a national holiday?
Well, you know what I'm saying.
In this house, it's a holiday.
In the plot of Twin Peaks, today would be the day that Laura Palmer washed up wrapped in plastic.
Oh, dear.
So I'll recommend you Twin Peaks. And then the link to this movie is Michael Cera, who was in Twin Peaks, the 3rd season. So there's your Twin Peaks link. And my second one is a link to Twin Peaks also is Wild at Heart by David Lynch, which also starred Mr. Nicolas Cage. So there you go. They all fit together.
And mine are going back to the 20th century, meaning from 1900. It's the 1900s, kids. That's when we were all coming of age. 1900 to 1999. And this week I have picked their action/adventure movies. I just picked from the list of movies I've seen. This is not a recommendation of quality. It's my own method. I don't go by the rules of A. Scully because that's how I am. That's who I am. I'm a rebel. So I have The Mexican, right? Brad Pitt.
Bradley, yeah.
The American, which is George Clooney. The Gold Rush, which would have been
like a black and white
Charlie
movie.
Chaplin.
Yeah.
Little Big Man, which would have been Dustin Hoffman. And RV, Robin Williams. These are some big hitters, people. They made some big movies back in the 1900s. RV is just a wacky comedy about a family going in an RV on vacation. Little Big Man. I mean, when I remember watching it, I think I watched it on television. I was just like, and it was really long. It was probably 4 hours on TV with commercials. And I was really young probably and just riveted. I don't know if I would be today. The Gold Rush I saw when I was in college taking film class. And then I've watched it again since then. And it is pretty fun, kind of ahead of its time, strangely. And then the American and the Mexican are just like not adventure. What would you call them? Drama, crime.
Yeah. Drama, crime. Yes, exactly that.
Drama, crime? Drama.
Crime drama. That's what they call
Crama.
Yes.
Or drime. These are drime movies. I'm inventing a new genre. So those are my recommendations.
Hey, Scully stuff. I've been playing on my Steam Deck more this week, and I've been playing a particular game which I want to recommend to you. It's called Geometry Survivor.
Yeah.
So back in the day when the Xbox 360 came out, the actual evening that it came out, which I went and lined up in a Walmart, didn't I, all day to get Xbox 360.
You did, I remember.
I got it, I came home, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. The first game I played was Geometry Wars. It was a downloadable game. It was actually, the 360 was the first console to offer the downloadable games. And Geometry Wars was a shooter. It's called a twin stick shooter, where you're a little ship, more like a circle or a hexagon.
Did you say ship with a P?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you're moving around the playfield, and here's where the Geometry Wars comes in. Different shapes start to attack you, and you have to last as long as possible in the arena. So it gets harder and harder. It's got cool music. The visuals are really impressive. So that was Geometry Wars from back in the day. It spawned a few sequels, and then it just disappeared completely. Well, Geometry Survivor came out this week on Steam, and what they've done is they've taken Geometry Wars and taken the concept of the Survivor games, which is a new genre of games that came out like a couple of years ago, and mixed it together. So how it works is it's the same. It's Geometry Wars. You're a ship. Stuff's attacking you. You're on the screen. But every game that you play, you earn coins. And then with the coins, you can upgrade things about the game. So you can make it so you level up quicker, your ship's more powerful, you have more lives. So it encourages you to keep coming back and trying to last longer and longer. And the whole idea is you have to last 20 minutes in the arena. So what that will do is you'll have to keep playing, dying, earning the money, upgrading the ship, coming back, trying again. And each time you try, you might get a little bit further because, you're getting a bit of an advantage. So they mix two genres of game together. It's basically Geometry Wars that you know and love, but with the Survivor element to it. I can't recommend it enough. I've played it so much this week. Also, the kind of ideal game for the Steam Deck, which is the portable Steam device, because you play it quick. You have 5 minutes and then you die and then you put it down. So Geometry Survivor, it's on Steam. I think it's $9.99. You can get it now. Cidtalk, what's for dinner?
Tonight it's going to be something homemade, but I'm not sure what yet. It will have potatoes in it. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes.
Potatoes and maybe like a veggie burger, I'm thinking. Or takeaway. So, whatever I land on in the next couple of hours.
And what's your advice? And let's get out of it.
My advice isn't advice, of course. And it's controversial because I don't really care about what people think so much. And that's part of this little thing that I have to say. I get it that people are into this whole listening culture now. Like, oh, it's good to be a listener and you should listen and sit and listen and let people tell you everything and be a listener, be a listener, be a listener. I'm not so much. I mean, there are people who genuinely, openly discuss their feelings, their life, how they cope. And it's like an exploration of all these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not asking you to like sympathize and be on track with them. It's fine if you do and you are, that's fine. But the expectation isn't there. Whereas other conversations feel more like a rope's been thrown around your wrist and they're dragging you in to like, you've got to wallow with me and feel sorry with me and feel bad with me and feel like life is terrible with me. And regardless of their circumstance, which could also be terrible, I get that. I'm not listening very closely. I'm tuning out. And that's me. That's maybe a flaw of mine. I don't know. But I listen intentionally, like mindfully, when it's like a shared experience and not so much when it's I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. But yeah, the listening culture and trend for me is difficult because it doesn't feel like it fits me very well. And that, I mean, I can say I'm not a great listener. And some people would disagree and be like, oh, no, I'd like to tell you anything. And I love to talk to you about things. And, you know, you're good to talk to. That's because I like to engage with the conversation, right? What you're telling me, I might have experiences or information or some sort of feedback. Whereas the listening conversation is just letting people completely and utterly like put it all out there. And then that's it. And I'm not great with the inactive portion of that method, right? Like just pat you on your hand and say, tell me everything, and then have nothing to offer or supplement or share about it. That's tough for me. So
what did you say? I wasn't listening.
That's funny. You know what? I'm happy with that. I'm totally fine with that. No one has to listen to that. That's cool.
Thank you. ascully.com. That's the place you can go to get this podcast. Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram are social networks that people talk on social networks, including us. You can also go Spotify, iTunes, Amazon. We even have a YouTube channel which posts the audio podcast. You can email feedback to me, ascully@ascully.com. Don't email Cidtalk. Stay classy, Mr. Nicolas Cage. I want to watch you in everything you do.
And I'm going to say, think for yourselves, because if you're not doing it, someone's doing it